welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about something that I know, at least for my family, it wasn't a common discussion around the dinner table or any other area of the house, but it is something that does impact every day of our lives, and that is the topic of finances. So just the basic level, I know that there's a lot of higher level investing and things like that, but basically I wanted to reach those who, like me, didn't have any discussions of finances in the home growing up. And so once you leave that house and the covering of your parents and you're out on your own and you're trying to figure things out, this is the person that I'm really speaking to today, just because I was there and I didn't have anybody to kind of guide me along the way, and I did have some pitfalls. One of which was after I had left off for college, I opened up a checking account back when we did still utilize checks a bit more than, or definitely more than we use today. But that checking account, I had an instance where I had deposited a check into my account, and at the same transaction or immediately after, I withdrew money. And now the check covered the amount of my withdrawal, but I didn't have that in my bank account, and I didn't realize that it takes some time for the check deposited to actually be available for me to withdraw from. And so because of that, I incurred some overdraft withdrawal fees. So I just wanted to make people aware of how things work, and so that you don't have to learn from the mistakes of what not to do to realize, okay, it doesn't work that way. And so one thing that I have heard from Joyce Meyer, listening to her over the years, where she actually mentioned something her husband had brought up, was that they should give, save, and spend all within their borders. Your borders are just what's coming in, because that kind of limits how much should be going out. I know it's easy to open a line of credit and have amounts that you have a credit limit that kind of exceeds what you earn in a pay cycle, and so it's easy to kind of utilize that because it is available. Doesn't mean that you should. So one thing that it says in Proverbs is that we should know the state of our flocks. For us today, our flocks are the finances of what we have available. What are we earning and what is ready, deposited, and available within our accounts. So some things that I have now established, having developed routines of using the checking account register of just making note of everything that's coming in, and then with that, it gave the option to write the check number, the date, who I was paying, the amount I was paying, and then I would have a tally then of what would then be available in my account. So I know that there's online applications, or you can create an Excel workbook or a Google Sheet to kind of keep track of all your finances. I still am a bit old school in using a notebook, just because writing it down makes it more established for me, and it makes me more aware of what do I have in my account that's currently available, and then that way I know how much can I spend. And so one thing that I like to do is, once I have a payment come in, then I know that I have certain bills that are going to repeat every month. They're the same every month. They're always recurring, and so I know that they're going to come out. And so even though they might not be due until later in the month, I go ahead and write that down. First, I write down the amount that comes in. Then I write my tithe, because I want to honor God with my increase and thank Him for everything that He has given me, because even though it's coming from my employer or whatever thing I might be doing that somebody might pay me for, I do pet sitting and things like that on the side, so more than just my employer, but things like that. I want to keep track of everything that's coming in, honor God with the ability to work for that increase, and thank Him for everything that He's done for me. So that's the tithe. And then I go through and say, okay, well, what are my bills? What do I know is going to come out later? And it might be later in the month, but I want to make sure that I have those funds available when that time occurs, and not spend it before that comes around, and then that subjects me to these overdraft fees and things like that. And that's what we want to save ourselves from, because it's it's kind of wasted money. If we were responsible enough to keep track of everything, then we would know what's coming and we wouldn't fall into those traps. And so that's what I want to kind of warn everybody about, if it's not something that's occurred to you, of like how to keep track of your finances, writing down what's coming in, giving our thanks to God. What do we know is going out? Things like rent is going to come around every month, phone bill, internet, car notes if you have that. If your car is paid off, that's wonderful. But then car insurance, that's a recurring bill. So all these things we know is coming. We know about what it's going to be, so we can go ahead and deduct that from our total. So then that way we know, okay, well, how much then do I have left to put into a savings account? And there's high yield savings accounts. There's other areas that we can invest in, money market accounts, things like that, bonds, stocks, CDs, if you're creating bond ladders, those are a bit more of the next level. But just fundamentally putting money, something into savings, because there's always unexpected things that arise, whether it's an emergent trip to the hospital for you, for a loved one, that you then have to care for your loved one. Hopefully not. Hopefully we're all healthy and happy and thriving in our lives, but sometimes those things do occur, so we want to be prepared for them. Sometimes something around the house needs to be repaired or replaced. Some things with our car needs to be repaired or replaced as well. So we want to have something in savings for rainy days should something arise that we need to have those funds available, that's not part of our day-to-day life, but that might pop up unexpectedly. And so then that way we're prepared and not completely taken out because we're living so strapped to our finances. So we want to have that breathing room within our finances, so we're not so stressed of living check to check. We want to have that in the savings so that we can reach that. Then we want to give. We want to spend. We want to be able to go out to eat with friends, or go to the movies or concert or other things. We want to go shopping, whatever it may be, things like that. So we all have these other expenses that we have, but we want to make sure that we're doing that within our limits of what's coming in. We want to know that kind of the state of our finances. We want to know what's upcoming, keeping track of all of that. And then once we have a handle on those things, then we can move into those money market accounts and investing and things like that. And if your employer offers retirement accounts, be sure to take advantage of that, because a lot of companies will offer a match. So what you contribute, they'll contribute a percentage of that. So take advantage of that. As long as you leave it alone, it will continue to grow, and that increase will provide more for more increase. So it just kind of compounds on itself in that exponential growth. Seeing it over time, when I first started, it was just such a small amount I was contributing. I could only afford to contribute a small amount, but seeing that grow over time has really given me the kind of the momentum behind that snowball effect of, like, it starts small, but then it grows and grows and grows. And so leaving it alone, continuing to add to it, taking advantage of my employer's match to it. So hopefully as it grows, it'll be enough for me at the time that I retire, that I can utilize that and not solely rely on Social Security and other things that might not meet the totality of my needs after I retire, things like that. So I hope this helps just as a foundation of what to do, kind of how to keep track of your finances. And so I hope that if this is encouraging and something that has inspired you to kind of take the initiative to, and I hope it has, to take the initiative to look at what you have, look at what's coming in, look at what's going out. And if it's something that you're finding that what's going out exceeds what's coming in, then make the adjustments that you need so that you then back to within your borders. And then once you are faithful there, you'll find that God will increase your borders. And so if this has encouraged you, then please share it with a friend. Hopefully that will encourage them to do the same, because as God grows you, we want to grow others. And that's the whole point of this channel, is that we learn from each other and we grow together. So I hope this helps. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you again soon. All right, take care. Bye for now.